You stupid fucking redneck. So tell us about your horrible travel experience.
Oh God.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
bully you. I'm gonna bully you for the rest of this now. You made me. I told you we're going live, and then you go, wait a minute. Now I just ain't ready. I got to do my hair up like J. Edgar Hoover. So,
Oh God.
so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
heard you had some. I heard you had some troubles on the road.
I did. We had a Greyhound bus, notoriously horrible for traveling. It got delayed by 4 hours.
Oh
So,
dear.
and then there's a 7 hour trip to Chicago from Louisville, Kentucky. So many stops on the way: Indianapolis, Lafayette, Indiana, all of those
Basically,
places.
all places that suck.
Yeah, yeah. And then we go to a few extra stops in Chicago. The traffic is fucking awful. Our bus driver almost got in so many fucking wrecks.
Oh my
People
god.
were just people were just playing like they could take on a bus with their fucking sedan.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
no wonder.
Chicago is a city where everybody has like a death wish. I mean, I would have a death wish if I lived in Chicago.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh god, the people there are so brave. I mean, even if it's like stupidly brave, it's brave, right? Bravado is there. Um, and so yeah, I finally get to Chicago, and Thursday's conference is already done with. Like, I got there too late. I missed all of the podcasters and the artists and all that good stuff that
Who
was
want?
going on.
No, who wants to see those people? This
I would love to know.
isn't labor notes like a meeting of union people who go there and like they basically linked up and they listened to speeches and stuff. Like Sean Fain was there, I think. Um, well, of course, fucking Sean Fain was there. He's probably the only reason that Zoomers know about unions in the first place.
Yeah,
Actually, let me
yeah,
walk
that's
that
a good
back.
point.
Actually, let me walk that back. Starbucks Workers United is the reason why Zoomers know what unions are.
And Amazon workers, and
Yeah,
Amazon workers.
of course.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta shout out that because I am a former Amazon worker, and I had a crazy experience taking on Amazon. Nothing but humble pie. Just eating so much humble pie. That's why I'm chubby right now, because of the humble pie. Um, and God dang. I mean, Sean Fain was the least interesting speaker there because he's a mid-aged white man. I mean, he didn't have to overcome so much adversity.
Wasn't his dad like a police chief or something?
Yeah, yeah, it was. His
Oh
dad
dear.
was a police, and he speaks like so much about religion. Sean Fain is just a class reductionist, just a preaching class reductionist. Sean O'Brien's less preachy.
Sean
Uh,
O'Brien is a Trump supporter, isn't he?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he says it's because of the membership. Bullshit. You don't have to do that. Just if they were the Militant Caucus, TDU, Teamsters for Democratic Union, and then they became the establishment. They became the establishment, and they're no better than Hoffa. I met up with some of these militant Teamsters. They call themselves Teamsters Mobilize, as we discussed before, and how they're mostly made up of part timers. But these TDU guys interrupted our conversation when I was talking to the Mobilize dude, the founder, like one of the founders of Teamsters Mobilize. And
Mm,
they came up there and started arguing with him because they're from the same local. And their politics are just so different within that local.
wow.
And establishment motherfuckers arguing and disrupting the solidarity at LaborNotes.
They sound like trots.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, the Trotskyists, they were mad. They were mad because we ignored their newspapers.
You know,
They were so salty. They did a hit piece.
that's the thing that gets me about like these fucking these like Trotskyist toy Bolshevik organizations. Like they're parasites. Like you show up to a conference that's supposedly centered around the working class. Like it says right here, Labor Notes is a network of rank and file members, local union leaders, And labor activists who know the labor movement is worth fighting for. We encourage connections between workers in different unions, worker centers, communities, industries, and countries to strengthen the movement from the bottom up. So, like, they're parasites. Like, they do no prior work with these people. So, like, what arrogance does it require to show up to a conference and, like, hand out your newspapers? Like, what exactly do you have that these workers will benefit from?
And let me tell you something. The only Trotskyists that are worth a damn are still socialist alternative because they actually had people who were labor organizers that they sent to LaborNotes
Mm-hmm.
to help educate people, and they said some really good, in touch, in line with where workers are, types of things, and I commend them for that. And I had a lot of fun with socialist alternative folks there. I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't ramble on a bunch of shit that nobody can understand, right? and and of course, labor notes. It's not only listening to speeches, but getting in these workshops where you're engaged with each other, like popcorning, get around the room to share your different experiences. And labor notes held so much space for BIPOC folks in unions. Like a ton of the workshops were Black labor struggles. A ton of the workshops were queer labor struggles. And of course, the intersectionality of Black and queer workers, because there's so much of that throughout labor history. Like the CIO Tobacco Union back in the day, that was founded by a Black woman who was a communist and a lesbian, and her lover. It's a sapphic labor love story
Ooh,
and a labor struggle, right?
we
It
need more.
is.
We need more gay labor love stories.
Yes, more representation all the way around. We had sex workers there
Oh
who
yeah.
were starting their unions and stuff. In the first queer workshop that I attended, strippers United had so many people there. One of the main speakers was from there, um, demonstrating like everything they did on the picket line, and essentially like they were doing performances outside of the strip club they were unionizing at. So like customers didn't have to cross the picket line to get a show.
So what makes
And
you? So what do you think about the? We already talked about class reductionists, but what do you think about the more conservative leftists who say that like sex work isn't work?
oh, I, I, I really do resent them. I can't say hate, but
Why
I
can't you?
absolutely,
Why
I
can't
need
you?
these fuckers.
Why can't you say hate? Hey, let the hate flow through you. Hate is good.
I hate them then. Okay, but I hate so many of these workers, and there were workers when
You
we had the
hate
Palestine,
you
when we
hate
had the
workers.
Palestine.
You hate workers, man. Jesus Christ.
what what I have to say to these union members who are not with it, these union members who are still out of touch, middle-aged white folks who don't understand anybody else's struggle, um, you're gonna get overthrown by the young workers.
Mm.
You are. It's a matter of time. We are merely tolerating you while we have to.
So how are y'all gonna overthrow the like set in their ways upper middle class like white labor aristocrats? Like how are we going to go about doing that concretely? I agree it needs to be done.
Mm. That's what Labor Notes is for. Actually, it's for
Mm-hmm.
these union members who are from the militant caucuses to get together to plan and strategize and to network. So we have all these new connections, so we can build, inter-union solidarity, and so we can just build up all that awareness of everybody's struggles. So there's already like a few organizations that cater to militant unions, sort of like how Labor Notes has been doing that since their inception. They combated business unionism from the get go. That's their whole purpose. And so we have like Essential Workers for Democracy, which is one of these other organizations that concentrates more on the organizing side. Like right now, they're supporting reform movements in every union. that they can get in contact with. And of course, it's just so inspiring to be around these folks who are doing this kind of work, who are pushing their unions to say, we're not going to stop for anything less than Palestinian liberation and decolonization of all people.
So were you there that night that like the cops were trying to interrupt or break up a pro-Palestine protest? And
That was actually a part of the LaborNotes program, was the Palestine rally.
really,
Yeah, because LaborNotes staff were outraged that the mayor was allowed at the conference.
mm-hmm.
The mayor of Rosemont, Chicago, who is he's very pro-labor, but he's refused to condemn the Zionists, right? So they did not want him there. They published in their magazine that they did not want him there. And so they organized that pro-Palestine rally. And so when it was time, everybody got outside of the Palestine workshops and we converged outside in the streets. We had our speakers lined up.
They arrested one of the YDSA kids, Trey.
Yeah, Trey. He's also an EWOC member. He's an active member of EWOC.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, he experienced police brutality, and so did Simone. Simone, I just got off a call with them. They stayed all the way through the call. So many insightful remarks, such an insightful experience, and we unarrested Simone. That's that white person who we pulled from the door. Yeah, you could see them struggling to get out of the police's grip.
There's nothing to cap off a labor conference like de-arresting your comrades.
Absolutely, and that was far from the end. Of course, that was Saturday evening, and it was bullshit because we both know that you don't have to ask what did they do wrong. It's the fact that the cops just grab people out of the fucking protest, whoever they want, whoever just happens to be too close, especially if they're young or black, they just grab them.
Or whoever's making the most noise, or whoever's shouting the most anti-police slogans. Like, cops are petty. Like, they'll literally just grab you because you shouted a slogan that got on their nerves.
And just real quick about Simone. Simone is a wobbly. They're an independent Walmart organizer trying to get help from the Wobblies for their Walmart campaign in Illinois. And Simone's a very inspiring person, and they're starting to get some media coverage and stuff like that. And they really do need help. Simone needs help. Not for anything legal, because we pushed the mayor.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah. We pushed the mayor. We interrupted his speech to get them unarrested because Simone was taken out of police custody by force. And then the mayor allowed the cops to enter the Rosemont, the Hyatt Regency Hotel where the conference was taking place. So you had a convention center that was right across the street. And so the cops tried to bring Simone into the convention center because we were surrounding them and not letting them leave. We had that struggle at the door to get Simone back. And then we brought Simone into, across the street into the hotel. Everybody was staying and all that stuff. The mayor allowed the cops to enter the hotel and grab Simone again. And so they took her down to the station. And that was fucked up. But we had labor lawyers there. We had so many labor lawyers there that were on the phone with the police, got her out. However, a lot of our fellow workers were chicken shit because they called us disruptors because we came in and interrupted the mayor's speech. They called us disruptors, and they said we were sowing division. So fuck them for being labor Zionists. Seriously. They don't care enough about Palestine. They don't care enough about the main thing going on in this fucking world. I even went to a railroad workers party that night. Railroad Workers United. They're like a militant organization that is seeking to change all of the labor railway unions, right? There was this fucking guy there that I was arguing with because he was saying the most obnoxious things about how he's against what's going on in Palestine, but we shouldn't have had this rally there because we put everybody at risk and yada yada yada. Fuck that guy. If he ever listens to this, fuck you. All right. Swear to God, so many people were chicken shit and they acted upset with it because, oh, we spoke over a Starbucks organizer. What? The Starbucks organizer is going to be there for the rest of the conference. You can hear from them later. We got to get our fucking comrade back. Your comrade got arrested, paid that sacrifice for the liberation of Palestinians, and you can't be bothered to give a fuck? Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry, BRG. I said those 3 words that
I've said far worse. You're good. But yeah, thanks for that account though. Like, it's really important, like you keep saying, intersectionality. Like, this is not just a struggle for some reforms or a higher salary. Like, this is a struggle for the liberation of everybody, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if you're too cowardly and chicken shit to help liberate one of your comrades who has fallen into the clutches of the police, yeah, you're fucking useless. You're useless to workers. You're useless to your comrades. You're useless to the movement. So,
And I am so angry after just hearing, not only because of what happened to my friend, my dear comrade, somebody I've known for a year now, but also because they're a fellow non-binary person, and Simone is actually disabled, and the cops use that against them,
yeah,
and
that's the always do. Like, cops are definitely ableist and they're definitely transphobic. Like, in St. Louis during uprisings and during mass protests, like, they're known for throwing trans women into the men's portion of the justice center. Like, they do shit like that, hoping that things will happen to these women.
I
So,
fucking hate it. I fucking hate it,
yeah,
man.
but like I keep saying, that's why we need a revolution. So,
Yes, and we need revolutionary workers.
yeah,
The most revolutionary workers are the black workers in the South, because so many of our panels were dedicated to the black labor struggle in the South. We met with workers, especially all over North Carolina, from the Union of Southern Service Workers, from the Southern Workers Assembly, from Raise Up the South, all these organizations that are bashing back, from Carolina Amazonians United for Solidarity and Empowerment, led by the Reverend Ryan Brown of his Southern Baptist Church. It's a black Baptist church, and a black Amazon warehouse. And they are fighting the good fight like nobody else, okay? And they were so smart. They rejected going with the ALU because, like, they had their entire membership of cause sit down and read through the Constitution of the ALU and read everything that was going on about the ALU, all the controversy and shit, and hearing accounts from workers that were disenfranchised. This was before me. This was before I was outspoken. But they decided not to go with the ALU. They've rejected every bigger union that has tried to fuck them over, that has tried to buy them off. And because of that, unions rejected their calls to help pay for their attendance of LaborNotes.
Well, that's solidarity for you. So just because they wouldn't like click up with these massive business unions, they won't allow like these rank and file worker organizers to have their support. I thought the founding principle of any union worth a damn was solidarity. Even if they don't agree with you, like, these are still workers. You should still help them, right?
Yeah, you absolutely should. And one more thing about that, I learned so many things about the black labor struggle at LaborNotes. Like, union density, among black workers is higher than it is among white workers, right? There are more black folks in unions than there are white folks.
Yeah, because we're mostly in industries that are unionized or that need to be unionized.
Absolutely. I learned so many things about black labor history
You
too.
want a
Um,
you want a mozzarella stick I bit in half off of?
ah.
So yeah, yeah, what you said is like literally correct. We are like overrepresented in unions, maybe not in leadership, but like you talk to any black worker, they'll say, "Of course, a fucking union is good." Well, some of the more older ones remember when like unions were bastions of racism and all sorts of other shit, so they might be skeptical, but still, they'll be down if it's actually doing shit for the people.
But I just have a fear. I have a fear that not everybody got everything that they could have out of labor notes because I mean you had people there. It was a super spreader event. I'm sorry, it
Yeah.
was.
Ooh, yucky, gross.
Yeah, not enough people were masking, and the after parties. There were these parties after labor notes for certain groups and stuff like that. Like Ewok had a party.
Did you go to the after party?
Yeah. I went to the Ewok after party where we were
Ooh.
also celebrating the book launch of our new organizing manual.
Ooh.
And the DSA had their party. all the DSAers came to our party.
But y'all had the best. Of course, y'all had the best liquor, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Well,
Damn, now I'm upset. I missed this thing. I wanted to get drunk. I wanted to get drunk with you.
Yeah, we should have. Hold that thought. Unfortunately, we did not buy up liquor. We bought pizza, but we had the hotel staff have like a bar in that room, but we did not provide liquor. Unfortunately, the railroad workers had so much booze.
Of course, the fucking railroad workers.
I got drunk Friday night. Because I was just hanging out with the railroad workers. I found most of the people in there were radical, except for that one guy who was like, "Y'all shouldn't have had that Palestine rally." That one guy, that one fucking old fuck, you know. Yeah. Everybody else in there was cool and radical, and I met some people that were railroad workers from a place that has been abandoned, East Palestine, Ohio.
Oh yeah, that's very familiar sounding. That's where that's where fucking Fallout starts. That's where they filmed Fallout at, isn't it?
It is. And
have you been watching that show?
I did. I watched it all the way through twice.
Oh, what do you think of it?
I loved it. Really, I did. And I love how it's going more anti-capitalist than the show than the game series really did.
Yeah,
because it's like
and that's saying something because like the game series is already like fairly anti-capitalist. Like no, it's not like fucking workers. What is the name of that shitty Eastern European game? Workers and Resources or whatever.
Yeah, I have a theory about why Amazon is doing it though, because Amazon certainly isn't being anti-capitalist themselves. They're actually all of the unions who are involved in the production. They are so mad at Amazon and their intellectual property violations of their unions and their workers. So the theory is that they're going to give us some media to kowtow to us. Because they know that's all the rage. Anti-capitalism is all the rage right now, right? Everybody fancies themselves as some kind of critique of capitalism, even if it doesn't really go anywhere. Like a milquetoast critique. They're just catering to a new audience.
Yeah, so that opens up a really good discussion about like how do we prevent anti-capitalism from being co-opted. Honestly, like my only answer is to like be communist. Like you cannot co-opt Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, can you? Like they're not gonna make a show about a bunch of Maoist revolutionaries that are actually doing shit is just gonna be like, oh, vague radicals or Antifa with no, like, they're not going to go deep into the ideology of everything. Like, one of the major critiques I've seen about that new Civil War film that's come out, like, they don't talk about ideology. It's just shooting fucking people, and the country is balkanized and all of this. I haven't seen it yet. No investigation, no right to speak, I guess, but that's just what I've seen comrades that have seen it talking about.
Yeah. But, not only was the conference so overwhelming and you had to, like, worry about whether you're going to get COVID or not. I mean, this is a conference that had disabled and disability action workshops of how to do disability action within your union and how to get them to prioritize disability. And not to enforce the masking requirements while intentionally having disabled folks there was beyond fucked up, putting them in danger. Even if you have an N95 mask, you are still so susceptible to this fucking virus.
Yeah, because a lot of people think COVID is over. It's a thing that from a couple years ago. Like, no, it's never going to be over. It's going to be with us for the rest of our lives. Like,
Yeah.
long COVID, that's a fucking thing. Like, we're gonna have people that are in their 40s and 50s, Zoomers and millennials, who had to work through this fucking COVID thing, who are gonna be like dropping dead from blood clots, heart attacks, strokes, old people shit at the age of 40 and 50, and it's going to be traced directly back to the Trump administration and growing up in in-stage capitalist America and being forced to work at Walmart and Family Dollar. That's just a prime example of how capitalism fucking kills people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's very near and dear to my heart, of course, because the Amazon labor struggle started with those folks that walked out over people dying of COVID and not being protected from this virus.
Yeah,
That was the upsurge.
yeah, and like, to every cloud there's a silver lining. Of course, COVID is a hell of a big cloud, and I also hate cliches, but like, there was so much organizing that was being done around that. Um, Same thing. Like, people are so afraid. A lot of people in DSA or adjacent to DSA, they're so afraid. Oh, if Trump gets elected, it's going to be fascism again. And like, fascism is just something that just flicks on and off, on and off. The only way you can defeat fascism is through protracted peoples war led by a communist party that operates under Marxist-Leninist Maoist ideology and principles. But like, it just shows that you have to do the fucking reading. Like, people make fun of people like me and you because we read a lot, but when you study the mistakes of our ideological forebears, it's really hard to be confused, right? It's really hard to have a lack of clarity on questions that unfortunately a lot of our comrades in DSA have a lack of clarity on.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. And just some of the things about the Labor Notes conference, even though like there was so much valuable information, there's so many takeaways, so much things you could learn and really develop your praxis. Like, these white folks finally heard from black folks exactly what they needed to hear, which is black folks are not going to join you and show up to yours if you don't fucking show up to theirs.
Yeah.
Right? Black folks are tired of it.
Nate Went, comrade, was apparently also at Labor Notes. He says the entire conference was masked. Social events that were held in the evenings afterwards were not the same.
They didn't enforce any of the masking policy. Like, there were people there that were just never masked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's always ways that we can do better.
Like, Labor Notes was they were going the whole 9 yards. Aside from enforcement, like they were handing out masks. They kept asking people to put on masks. Yeah, but still, most people were not masked, and that's Nate is the Ewok media lead, so he's the guy who came there with a plan. Nate is also a cancer survivor. He currently has cancer. He's had it the whole time that I've known him. He thought it was in remission until recently, and he found out it actually got worse. And so Nate needs our help. He needs that camaraderie, and He's been doing so much of the work at Ewok, carrying the media team on his back. He runs the Twitter accounts and the Instagram accounts, and he went there knowing exactly who to talk to. Like, this dude has like a photographic memory. He knew where all the labor celebrities were, and he was introducing me to all these people. At the time,
labor celebrities. Jesus Christ, what have we come to?
labor journalists.
Labor celebrities.
Oh my God! Yeah, it's because
is that what you aspire to be, Matt? A labor celebrity?
No. I actually had a very humbling experience. Nobody knew who the fuck I was.
Good. In such cases,
good.
That's good. You don't want people to know who the fuck you are. You want people to know what the fuck you've done.
Yeah, exactly. And so that gave me a chance to like advocate for myself again, like get good at telling my own story again, and telling people like what they can learn from what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I like that. Even in organizing, nobody is supposed to get credit. Like, if you read the Ewok organizing manual, we don't credit anybody. Like, we give them credit at the book launch party. We said who wrote what, but we didn't put that in there. And, good reasons.
Yeah, I'm watching videos of these like encampments that have been sprouting up all over the country. I'm going to be talking tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. my time, Central Standard Time, with the dude RJ, who was actually at the demonstration at Washington University Admitted Students Day last week. That was broken up by the police. A shitload of people were arrested, but I'm really glad to see. Like, it has a really big 2014/2020 vibe to it. It's and like, okay, like you only learn how to fight the police by fighting the police. You only learn you learn so much by going through stuff like this. Like, my freshman year was the same year that Mike Brown was killed up in Ferguson. My freshman year of university. And like, it takes going through stuff like this. Like, I'm really glad to have come up politically in the 2010s, because like that testing, that training, it'll serve you for the rest of your organizing life. So like, again, like I laugh at people who are afraid of stuff like this. Like, yeah, obviously nobody wants to get their ass kicked by the police. Nobody wants to get arrested. But it sharpens a lot of people's politics. Like during the Ferguson era, during the Ferguson movement, I learned a lot about what good politics are, what bad politics are, what opportunists look like, security culture, stuff like that. So I'm glad that a new generation is getting this training.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, like, some of the most like profound impacts that sort of like turned me into like a black bloc anarchist in like 2020 was all of like the Gilets Jaunes protests in France, the yellow vest protests. And of course, like, I was seeing dudes, like, there was this dude who was boxing with the police and he was winning. It was boxing, right, police?
Nate says that if you can't discuss the difference between business unionism and class struggle unionism, your comments on anything labor related are only good for laughs. Thank you for that, Nate. That is very true. So so it's basically a difference in like what you see the role of a union being. Like, communists, we see the role of unions as being tools of class struggle, right? Like, tools, weapons against the ruling class. Whereas business unions, they just see themselves as basically fraternities, clubs to serve the interests of their membership. Of course, I'm pretty sure that Nate will correct me if I'm wrong. He seems to be in a correcting mood tonight, but I like Nate.
Yeah, that's sort of that service oriented unionism. Yeah, where like, last time I was on the stream, I talked about seeing unions more as mutual aid networks. Like, essentially, every fucking union should have like a fucking chapter of Food Not Bombs or something like that they do. They should fucking organize the community and mutual aid first.
Ewok is business unionism despite its pretensions otherwise. Behave yourself.
Bro, what fucking unionism? What fucking unionism? We're not a union.
Dr. Anarchy 69. I really appreciate New York University building this big ass, ugly ass plywood wall around sites of popular support for anti Zionism. Like, you don't know anything about college students. Like, they're going to tag that shit. They're going to draw dicks on that shit. They're going to draw hammers and sickles on that shit. They're going to tear that shit down. And there's going to be all sorts of cool pictures taken when this thing is being torn down. Like, whoever is running this university's PR, outreach, whatever team needs to be fired. Like, why would you build a fucking wall?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Why would you build a fucking wall?
Yeah,
Well, this is something. This is also something that's happening. Morehouse, like one of the most famous historically black colleges in the world, really, is announced that President Joe Biden will be the school's commencement speaker this year. This announcement,
oh God.
yeah, yeah. So Biden is speaking at Morehouse, and this is faculty and staff for justice in Palestine, Georgia.
Wow,
So
watch
yeah,
them get so many fucking protests. You know what? Joe Biden's motorcade isn't even gonna fucking make it because they're gonna be blocking traffic.
yeah. Like I don't know what he thinks, and what Biden is doing is like he continues to take the black vote for granted, um, and he's pandering. Like he hasn't provided us anything. He hasn't given us anything to warrant us turning out in vast numbers for him. And now that he's attacking our Palestinian brothers and sisters and comrades, we're really not going to vote for him. So he's pandering. He's relying on our older generation. He's relying on our petty bourgeois. He's relying on our preachers, our right wing academics and shit. And it's not working. So yeah, this is going to be protested to all fucking hell, as it should be.
That's right.
So
Oh God, I want to see more fucking labor for Palestine protests.
yeah, me too. Like there has to be. Like we're talking about we're talking about building an international proletariat. Proletarians don't sit and watch as their class siblings are murdered overseas. So the college kids get it. Hopefully the unionists will as well.
And I think, like, generally, most people there absolutely 100% supported Palestine. You know how big that crowd was.
No,
And
we're talking about support though. Like and people are constantly saying like, oh, protests don't do anything. If you support them so much, why don't you go over there? Like this is from one of the organizations that are into resistance, the PFLP, Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. And they are literally like they're watching this stuff. Hezbollah, PFLP, like they're all watching this stuff. And this is from one of their telegrams. And it says that the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine condemns the repressive practices of the administrations of universities in the United States and affirms its support for the struggle of the student movement in support of Palestine. At the time when the genocide war against the unarmed Palestinian people in Gaza Strip continues and the brutal Zionist practices in Al Quds in the West Bank, executed by the Zionist occupation army in partnership, support, and complicity with the American administration in Western colonial countries, aligned with all the forces of evil and tyranny in the world, when the occupation army has been committing massacres and brutal crimes for over 200 days now, the likes of which human history has never witnessed before. While our students in American universities were looking forward to support and solidarity from the university administrations, which prioritize their interests, profits, and investments over noble human values, they have undertaken a number of punitive measures against students, faculty, and staff, threatening and extorting them for nothing but standing by the Palestinian people and supporting their just struggle for freedom and human dignity. These administrations prioritize their interests over Palestinian blood and human values and engage in hate speech against Arabs and Muslims, canceling student organizations' licenses, deluding themselves that by doing so they can suppress our student struggle in the universities within the United States. So they're watching us. They're paying attention to what we're doing. And it's our job to not let them down.
yeah, and Palestinians, like, you know, for us to continue doing what we're doing is very motivating for them to continue their struggle.
Yeah.
right? All this international solidarity, it's motivating. It's motivation to keep going. You know, you think about what keeps these people going every day, because it's certainly not a proper amount of food. It's certainly not a proper amount of drinking water. It's their fighting spirit. It's their need to have liberation.
Dr. Anarchy says, I'm getting tired. Have a good one. Remember that if your union goes through the National Labor Relations Board process, it's not revolutionary.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Some people just don't understand that even
Some
though
people are adventurous. That sounds like somebody that's never organized a union in their life.
the NLRB is toothless, but what you need to do as a militant worker is you need to understand that the NLRB staff, they're unionized and they're always pushing the NLRB further left as much as they can. And they're always going to be these union staffers that are advocating for you with all of their willpower, you know, everything that they can do. Why do you think NLRB folks work very closely with Ewok folks? Like, we can go and ask them for advice on a campaign and get very quick replies. Um, you know, so what one of the main takeaways from Labor Notes too is that use the labor board to your advantage. You want to extract all that you can, all of the resources that you can from the labor board. Because if you don't, then you're just missing out on a whole lot.
I don't know. I'm not going to go try to start a contractless union. That just sounds like a recipe for an ass kicking to me.
Exactly. Even though a contract like might take forever and it might seem like a pipe dream, like you know, that's why I talk about mutual aid so heavily and harm reduction and stuff like that, is because your union has to have something to keep you going throughout the contract process, throughout the process of winning a contract. Because if you don't, then you're just going to be dead in the water eventually,
Right.
right? And the NLRB, like, God, I mean, there were so many times that I could have given up throughout the process, but I had my comrades
Bonk,
to motivate me.
bonk,
And
bonk, bonk. This is at Humboldt. He's basically beating the shit out of this cop's head with a water bottle.
I love to see it.
Bonk, 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 bonk. Grab any weapon to hand.
This brings me so much joy.
It does. You need some joy in your life.
Yeah. And
So,
I did want to talk about my latest NLRB update. So
go ahead.
at the end of March, one of my charges went. It was one of my charges that went to DC for summary judgment. The NLRB had ruled that Amazon's off-duty access policy, which prohibited employees from being on the property on their days off and 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after, the NLRB found that illegal in my case, where I charged them with using it to discriminate against me for my organizing, because I was one of those workers. You know, union workers are stereotyped as so lazy. I was coming in early and leaving late every day. You know, just to do that, just to advocate, right? And yeah, they want you to come in early and leave late every day, but they don't want you to be organizing a union, right?
No, I don't think they want that.
That's an Amazon victory, Amazon worker victory, but the company decided to appeal that. They're trying to take it to the 7th District Court of Appeals in California. Their first mistake is not taking it to Texas, because if they took it to Texas, it would die. But now that they're taking it to California, it's almost for sure going to go through, because that anytime something gets brought to that specific court of appeals, it usually goes through. So very stupid on Amazon's behalf, and that's a victory for all Amazon workers. And let's say the appeal was successful. My case was the first one out of all those charges against the same policy that was brought up, right? If they successfully appealed it, then those other charges would go through the court system. Yeah. And my other update is that they found that my settlement agreement is good. The general counsel appealed my settlement agreement with Amazon last September. But they just now ruled that it was good. I found this out Saturday while I was at LaborNotes. That was exciting.
Oh,
And
so you're just taking all the dubs this week, aren't you?
you could say that, yeah. But the next steps are, because it's a non-board settlement, I have to get Amazon to cough up the dough and cough up their end of the bargain, which Amazon is one of those companies that hasn't violated their settlement agreements, their non-board settlements. Usually they don't like to do that, because then you can hire a legit labor lawyer and hold them accountable to labor law that has teeth.
Okay. I'm glad you gave that sort of summing up, because you never know like who is going through the like the same situation as you are and who can use that advice and that boost. I'm just looking at these dumb assholes from the Columbia protest in Yale. This is at Yale. Like
the Columbia protesters, they came to our event. They were part of the people that hosted it. Yeah. There were these they were giving the speeches.
Oh yeah?
Awesome. Yeah, they were giving the speeches. And solidarity, right?
Yeah, this shit is just surreal. Like, look at these people. Like, nobody there is paying any attention to you, but you show up. Like, do you have any idea like how many of these protesters are Jewish? But you just show up. You have Israel, and then you turn around. You have Jew. Like, imagine me putting on a fucking shirt and walking into a fucking a crowd of people that on one hand says black, and then I guess on the back I write Liberia or something. I mean, I'm not Liberian, but like still, like it's just like what is the point? Like, you're not going to win any of these pro-Palestinian protesters over, and why are you recording yourself? Like, I don't fucking
imagine showing up as a black Hebrew Israelite.
Gaza, baby. You going to hell. Those people are fucking like, have you ever watched any of them on YouTube or read any of them? You were in Chicago. You know they'd be in Chicago. Like, did you run into any of them?
No, I didn't. But
come here, you little short devil.
That's what they would say to me. They would, because I am short. But
you short because your daddy's seed weak. You a midget because your daddy's seed was a midget. This guy Shai David. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Shai. He's a adjunct, associate, something professor at Columbia's business school. He's been wearing the same stinking ass black hoodie for like 2 weeks, and apparently like they deactivated a bunch of student IDs. I guess they got tired of people coming on campus, and he took the opportunity. I don't know if he sees himself as like Jewish Mussolini or what, but look at it. Like this, like all of the attention seekers, all of the opportunists are just coming out. Like, this guy was a nobody. Nobody knew who he was, but certain people, they see the opportunity to become famous. So they should have never put a camera or a camcorder on everybody's phone. Now everybody can get their 5 nanoseconds of fame. Like this asshole. If it wasn't for these protests, I wouldn't know who this guy was. If this guy was a normal person, he would have went on teaching his class, or better yet, he would have joined the protest. He would have live streamed from the protests. He would have added his voice to the many, many, many Jews who are in solidarity with Palestine, but instead, he wants to be a Zionist and a fascist, and this is what he's doing. Like, you're going to look at this. Would you want to show your grandkids something like this? Would you want to show your grandkids the tweets about you? I wouldn't.
Oh God,
They
you
civil
know,
rights,
they're
the
most
civil
likely
rights
not
and
going to be able to procreate anyway, so I don't think
yeah.
they're worried about it.
I mean, I wouldn't fuck them. I don't think you would either.
last, last of their bloodline type shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck them. I don't know what you're into, but I'm not into that.
Oh God, and yeah, these people, it's like they want to get famous even if it's infamous.
Yeah, famous for stupid shit. Everybody wants to be fucking the Catch Me Outside girl, whatever the fuck her name was. Bad
Why?
Barbie or something.
My question is, why couldn't they just become like a TikTok NPC? You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could be famous on TikTok. You could buy fucking likes on TikTok. You can, yeah, you don't have to do stupid shit and embarrass yourself and possibly lose your job.
Hmm.
So you got anything else about labor notes?
Oh, one of the other actions that we did, I missed out on a bunch of Ewok photo ops for it, but it was a steel work. It was a restaurant workers strike in Chicago,
Oh
a
yeah?
local strike, and four busloads of us went there. Like, you know, whole school buses. We all went there and showed up in solidarity for these Portillo's workers. Portillo's is a restaurant chain that mostly has immigrant labor,
Hmm.
and most of them are like Spanish speaking immigrants.
Sounds like an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, yeah. God damn. But we went there, and you know, they were so kind, and they fed us lunch and everything, and we got to, you know, hold picket signs and wave down cars, flag down cars, march on the area, you know, the company property, and we also shouted so many different chants in Spanish. But one of the things that was so profound is we had international workers there. So we had like this, we had a lot of workers from Asia, from like different Asian countries. We had like Chinese workers sharing their struggle to unionize, which the government is very against. We had these Japanese medical workers, they're doctors that are unionized, and they were out at the Portillo strike, and they had these banners, like not signs, but banners, and you know, they had like actual, like a nylon cloth with Japanese letters written vertically, how they do.
Yeah.
Um,
how
God,
how they do. Yeah, I mean Japan has a history of mass protests. Like look up the Zinga Kurin.
absolutely, and yeah, one of the workshops that I thought was like kind of interesting. So there were too many workshops at Labor Notes for you to attend them all. That's sort of why I hosted that call earlier, which not many people attended the call, even though I advertised for it. Like, I had it in the events section of that Facebook group for weeks before the conference. And unfortunately, not many people showed up. So we didn't really get to publicize a wide variety of these workshops. But there was one that was like Chinese labor struggles. Labor Notes was truly an international event. I met so many Amazon workers from Canada, so
Eh?
many different Canadian workers. Yeah, Direct action gets the maple syrup.
You are so corny.
First thing to pop out of my head.
Well, that's good. So actual international solidarity is being built through stuff like this. Like
I was.
some people would say shit like this is useless. It's just a bunch of big ass circle jerk. But like actual connections are being made. Nate
Mhm.
says that there's a delegation of workers from Bermuda. All jobs on the island of Bermuda are unionized.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
I'm just a fan of this. Looks kind of like Wash U's campus, but it has a Japanese flair to it.
Wow. Nate said he was gonna be on the stream the whole time, and yeah, he's here.
He's right
I'm
here.
glad Nate. I'm glad Nate showed up.
Maybe I should.
Although, like, you know, even though Nate corrected me, it's like cool because I'm here not to do PR for Labor Notes. I'm here to tell what I learned and what I experienced. All right.
Hmm.
Nate's been there for me. Nate knew me before I got fired from Amazon.
Ooh.
Like, Nate is the OG, like Matt's best labor friend. You know what I mean? Yeah.
They passed the fucking TikTok ban. The Senate
Where?
late in the Senate late Tuesday passed a broad legislative package that delivers 95 billion in foreign aid to Ukraine, Israel, and other U.S. allies. The bill also includes a provision that could lead to a ban on TikTok in the United States if the popular platform's Chinese owner doesn't sell its stake within a year. I thought we had a free market in this country. Like, how can you compel somebody to? How can you compel somebody to sell their ownership in something? This just shows like how America is so full of shit. So we have a free market, but also the United States Senate can try to force you to sell your stock in a company that you helped found. The House has already approved the measure. In a statement following its passage, Biden said that he will sign the bill Wednesday.
And people need to understand that when we call socialism central planning, it's not that capitalism isn't central planning, because capitalism is monopolistic. All of these capitalists conspire together to control the government. It is central planning.
What? Yeah, this just shows like how I'm simultaneously like flabbergasted at the stupidity of the right, but I'm also impressed by like their ability to get this shit together. Like they've said, this is what the left needs to learn. The right doesn't sit around like, Mao would have no. They say that they're going to do something, stupid as it may be, and they get their shit together and they fucking do it.
Yeah. Like essentially, what happened is they had all the outrage around the first couple of TikTok bans that did not go through, and then they snuck it into this legislation. They snuck it in there, and they bamboozled us. They fooled us. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, right?
They had to, yeah. So they just put it in as a rider on a foreign aid bill. Oh my god.
They know what they're doing. They
Guess
know what they're
yeah.
doing. They wait for us to be so burnt out. They wait for us to be so burnt out and not paying attention.
You can't get burned out when you play the Game of Thrones. So this is basically me and like this is basically every discussion that me and Matt have. It's just basically just an exchange of stupid ass jokes.
It is. Yeah. There's a, you can learn from some of this.
That's a very pretty kafia, by the way.
Thank you. Got it from West Bank Apparel in October, and
It looks like Christmas colors.
it does. But yeah, you got the red and black and green, so it's all the colors of the flag.
Mm.
Some people have like some more sexy ones. I call myself dripless Matt because I don't have any Union drip or anything like
You
that.
don't have any drip whatsoever. You're from fucking butt fuck Kentucky.
So like I was trying to solicit free drip from everybody at LaborNotes.
You mean beg? You were begging. Please,
I was begging.
Please, sir, give me the shirt off your back. I'm just a poor Southern farm boy. I ain't got no clothes to wear. Please.
I have more stickers and buttons than I have shirts and clothes. Oh, but here's one piece of my drip though. I have the Zapatista shirt. It has this Zapatista woman on it.
Ooh, pretty.
Yeah. I got it from Redbubble like 2 years ago at this point.
I got the OG on my shirt.
Absolutely. And I have a couple of other shirts I would love to wear anywhere, but
you'll probably be stabbed.
I don't fit into them right now. I gained so much weight I didn't fit into those shirts anymore. Yeah.
Please, sir, give me your shirt. Since the Yankees come through, they took and burnt all my clothes and I got nothing to wear. Please, sir, you's a good union man. Show some solidarity with the post-Southern worker.
You crack me up.
I guess that's my job. Part of this whole shtick is to be entertaining, I guess.
Yeah, well, you're entertaining me. I hope the audience is as entertained as I am.
I don't know. The audience probably thinks that both me and you have smoked a whole bunch of crack or something.
Oh shit. I wish I wouldn't have made it through the Labor Notes conference without drugs. I
Oh,
wouldn't have.
why are you admitting
I
that?
I took a legal one though. It's kratom. Kratom. So
Wait, is that like the heroin route?
it it doesn't get you high the way that heroin does, but it like targets the same receptors and stuff like that. So it does pain relief. It like lowers your inhibitions. Like so I had for me it's it's a lot more social confidence. So it like helps me out with my social anxiety. And so it
That's
made
a
me functional
that's a
in a social.
roundabout way to say that you're a fucking hophead.
Yeah, it's habit forming if you use it too much, but
Well, don't use it too
yeah,
much.
yeah, 4 days that wasn't bad.
As long as you're not chasing the dragon, you're good.
Yeah, it's actually kratom gets a lot of love because it's also in the coffee bean family, so it's like a plant that's related to the coffee bean, and
Interesting. No, I will not be
it doesn't
partaking.
have caffeine though.
I will not be partaking. I don't take drugs.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I wish I had like some kind of prescription anxiety pill or something like that, but
Oh
nah, I
God.
gotta look for this shit because I don't have health care.
You have to eat strange roots of the ground.
Strange roots from like Vietnam and Thailand, and
Enjoy.
it is so bitter, man. I don't know if I'm you
I
haven't
imagine
tasted.
it. It's a fucking jungle root. I imagine it is. Why do you? I don't fuck with that shit for a reason.
The other interesting thing about my town, besides being an Amazon company town, they have an ayahuasca church here. So
Really?
that's
Have you
like
been to the ayahuasca church? You look like the type of person that would have been to the ayahuasca church.
I wish it's too expensive.
You know, it's for rich hippies only.
I need budget ayahuasca.
It's for rich hippies only.
Yeah, there was a Vice documentary about this ayahuasca church.
Ew. If you ever get enough money to go to the ayahuasca church, I will invite you. I will invite you on whilst high, so that I can milk more content out of you.
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
there
make
for
a
it. I'm
I make a horrible trip. I make a horrible trip sitter, but somebody in my chat might know what they're doing.
Yeah, somebody might know what to do. Matt, are you there, Matt?
So
Woosaw, dude, woosaw.
any well, while we're on the discussion of weird drugs, do you have any wrap up thoughts about labor notes, or were you too high to make a full summation?
Yeah, like I've been posting on socials, if you want to get the most out of labor notes, and you want to go to the black workers conferences, you want to go to the queer workers conferences, you have to fucking humble yourself. You have to humble yourself, right? You have to check your fucking white privilege. You have to, yeah, or else you're not even gonna learn anything from the Black labor struggles panels. You're
No,
not.
you're just gonna get yourself. You gotta get in your feelings, and you're gonna get pissed off, and you're
And
gonna
so many of these straight folks were in our queer panels, and they were like whining about like their straight issues and stuff like
well,
that.
you sure they weren't trying. You sure they weren't trying to pick up people?
Oh God, I'm sure there were some chasers there. Yeah. Oh Jesus. There there was a queer party, a queer sex party at Labor Notes.
A queer sex party. Man, you making me regret that I worked through this and that I didn't go to this. It was a queer sex party. Yeah, it was fucking kratom involved. It was you got drunk with fucking railroad workers. I hope they aren't driving the fucking trains drunk.
It would probably be an improvement to their safety. as bad as these railroad companies are, like they'll have a train that is like a mile long train, and they'll have like 2 or 3 workers on there. Usually, one of the workers is a trainee. A trainee.
A trainee on a train?
But so if something goes wrong, the trainee doesn't know what the fuck to do, right? And then so all you got is a brakeman and then a conductor. And you got faulty sensors on every inch of the track. That's why East Palestine happened, is because the railroad companies were telling the workers that the sensors would catch anything that would happen. So we don't need to hire as many people. We don't need to hire as many brakemen. And then guess what? Railroads across the country continue to have their own East Palestines.
Well, I guess I won't be getting on no fucking train anytime soon.
Yeah, although, Chicago Transit Authority, shout out to them because that was good public transportation.
Oh yeah, I love the L. I ride it every time I go up there. It's bumpy as fuck, but it gets you where you need to go.
It is bumpy, man.
It's like you ride on a fucking donkey cart.
And Chicago's train stations they don't have so many cops harassing you. They don't have any of that stuff. They just have a guard by the turnstiles.
Right? Did you just say a good word for the CPD? You fucking bootlicker.
Oh shit. I'm in trouble now. Matt's about to get canceled.
I remember the first time I was in Chicago. I don't know if you've seen the Untouchables, but I just wandered into the fucking train station where the fucking peak scene in the Untouchables was filmed. And they were like, oh yeah, you know what it is. But yeah, I love Chicago.
For sure. But yeah, that thing about the ego stuff, that was my closing remark about LaborNotes. And of course we had Sunday, which was a very short thing. I went to the LGBTQ queer workers meetup, heard from some great folks. Very profound, and a lot of the folks there were actually Black, and there was somebody who was a very profound speaker. She was a Black union leader, also a combat veteran who has PTSD and is queer. Yeah, so many interesting people were there.
She checks all the identity boxes.
Yeah. And of course, one of the first things they said after they were a combat veteran is they said, fuck the U.S. military.
Okay.
So,
yeah. That's dope. So, what do you want to wrap up with?
So I don't know how long this NLRB, the last leg of the process, is going to take for me. So if you know me on socials, at Unionize Amazon KY, and if you can visit my mutual aid links and provide some support, I would be so grateful. That helps me keep a roof over my head, food in my belly, and
you need to buy some other fucking shirts.
I need more shirts. If you have Union Drip, just what are you doing?
I'm gonna take off the shirt. I'm gonna take off the shirt I have on right now, and I'm going to send it to you.
You will have my mailing address.
This thing is probably you're gonna be swimming in this thing. Bro, I'm like twice your size.
I will be swimming, I guess. Surprisingly, I'm still a size medium. But the sizes of each brand vary, so sometimes they don't fit.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure, Matt. But yeah, hit them up, and if you are feeling generous or if you have it to waste, drop them some coins.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just be so grateful for it.
Otherwise, he could just show up and rob you, but I don't think you want that to happen. You got robbed. I don't think anybody wants to get robbed by a manlet. So, yeah, help Matt out. But I will see you all tomorrow morning, where we're going to be talking about WashU and the atrocious activities of the police there.
One last thing.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the only person at the conference who used my fucking correct they them pronouns was a journalist, Maximilian Alvarez, who hosts the Working People Pod, who is the editor over at the Real News Network. I mean, I met that dude. You probably saw the photo with him. and he is just so fucking compassionate. If y'all have the time to watch that show, do it, because he's one of the few journalists that is not giving up on the people of East Palestine. There's these unions that are rallying in East Palestine all the time, calling on Biden to invoke the Stafford Act. The Stafford Act is an emergency act that would give free health care to everybody in the affected area, and that would help them with moving expenses, relocation expenses, get FEMA involved. It would invoke so many social programs. Just this one emergency executive order, right?
All right. Well, I will be sure to get this shirt in the mail to you. You will have to wash it, but I don't let my comrades go without. Good night.
If
Man.
it doesn't fit, I'll keep it on the wall.
Yeah. BRG smelly shirt.